This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Jonathan Vaudreuil. What's going on in your world right now? It's like you can't just say Vaudreuil and one tone, it's like, I love the Vaudreuil, How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Things are going pretty good right now. I gotta say, things are going pretty good. Thanks for asking. How are things for you?
Yeah, things are great as well. I get to speak with some of the most amazing people in the world. What part of the world are you in right now?
I live right near Boston, Massachusetts in the United States.
Sweet. And which of your talents, Jonathan, is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
So somebody who I met in the past few months, Scott Westwater, tagged me on LinkedIn as part of your challenge to speak to a ton of professionals in the next 3 months. Scott's somebody I respect 100%, and I thought, I've got to look into this. So I checked out your site. I'm like, I'm in 100%.
Love it. So tell us what you do professionally, please.
Yeah, so I've been in sales for about 15 years. And right now, I run a business that helps marketing agencies clone their ideal clients. And the simple premise is that they're probably already working with some clients they absolutely love, and they're not 100% sure how to find and position themselves to go get more. So that's what I help them do, is ultimately go after and, land more ideal clients who are going to want to work with them for years.
Who writes the copy for what you do, for example, on your LinkedIn page?
That was me, and I don't know how many iterations I went through to get it to that point. I'm just going to say, for the record, I've been writing sales materials for I don't know how many years now, over a decade. Copywriting is a skill that I'm always working on. In fact, I had a conversation with someone who's been in marketing for almost 40 years now earlier today, and we were talking about how I'm doing this now, I've got a gist of it, but it's going to evolve over time, and I'm going to constantly have to change that and update it. So it's something I did, and it's working pretty well right now. Yeah. But I also know it's going to evolve over time, simply because that's the nature of writing.
Yeah, totally agree. And definitely that is something other people that are listening need to note, right? Like, if you have your LinkedIn page, definitely please get in there and update the stuff, right? But what I was really intrigued by is the tone that it carries. It carries a tone, and I could be wrong, so I'm glad that I have you, right? So that you can let me know if it's accurate or not. But it carries a tone like, hey, this is no nonsense here. Like, hey, this is what I can do, and this is what I've done, and you need this as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a company. You need this. Is that what you wanted to come across?
So it's pretty close. What I want to come across is, to the right person, I want that message to come across. A big part of sales is understanding that there's only a small percentage of the market who's interested in you right this second. So if somebody comes to your LinkedIn profile, you want them to have one of three reactions. Either one, this person's never going to be for me. Okay, good, we've made a decision. Two, I need this right now. And you need to have a message that's going to get someone to get to that conclusion. And it's happened to me, on LinkedIn. Three is for someone to say, let me remember this. Because that person might have a situation where they're like, we're trying to break into a new market. We're not too sure how. Or I'm starting a new business and I want to do it the right way from scratch. That's really what my message is all about, is making sure the wrong person goes away right away. The right person who is ready right now says yes. And then someone who might want to do something someday keeps it in the back of their mind.
Love it. For those listening, where's the best place to connect with you?
The best place to connect with me right now would be LinkedIn. That's where I'm definitely most active. I have a website for my business. Quite honestly, I set it up and said, so few people are going to websites nowadays, and my business is so small, I'm going to focus on LinkedIn. So I would say LinkedIn is the best place to connect with me.
We'll have that in the show notes, of
Yeah,
course.
great. I was going to say, if it's in the show notes, easiest way to come and find me.
Yeah. So it seems as though, like, I would put the word innovative in there when like listening to you speak, creative as well, but like super focused. Like, who did you learn that ability from? The ability to remain focused?
Yeah, my best friend would just tell you it's a superpower I have. When I'm focused, I'm zoned in. I get things done far faster than most people. I will say in the past few years, I've become a huge fan of Alan Kakshuri. He was a business manager, more or less, for tennis pros, including multiple number ones, Novak Djokovic being one of them. And what he's done is he's built a business around helping people focus on the right things, just the way he saw top performing athletes. So if I'm going to give anybody props in terms of helping me even take that to the next level, I've got to say it's Alan Kakshuri. I believe he's located out in like Israel, but just phenomenal guy. He had great story, especially with the tennis angle and working with so many amazing pros.
Undoubtedly, there are a ton of challenges that go with the decision to become or even be focused. Why will you continue to be that individual that focuses on focusing?
Sure. So one thing I've learned is to leverage your strengths. So if you're really good at something, don't say I'm good and go focus on your weaknesses. I think it was Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, who said, don't try and improve your weaknesses, smooth out the rough edges. So someone who is good at something should double down and triple down on what that is. So for me, getting better at focusing and being able to get more done in short periods of time just makes me better at what I'm doing and better at everything else. And I'm better off getting, seeing improvements in areas I'm good in and leveraging those strengths as much as I can instead of trying to bring up things I'm not only not good in, but I'm probably not going to want to do or do well in.
Yeah, totally agree. Life's too short. Amazing audience.
It is.
Again, you're hearing it live from Jonathan Vaudreuil. Jonathan, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Jonathan, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memories, I don't know which is earliest, but they both involved my parents' youngest Doberman Pinscher, so I must have been 3 or 4 years old.
And why do you think this memory is so clear?
I have no idea in a certain way, but my best guess is I love dogs, and I probably had an attachment to that dog. I will say that when she passed away, my parents got another puppy, I think about a year later, and I named that puppy after that Doberman Pinscher, and my mother couldn't call the dog the name Gretchen because she had her own Gretchen for over a decade. So I think it's just I was a dog person, and I was so attached to that dog that when she passed away, I just apparently pined for a new dog, and my parents love dogs, so they got me a new puppy, about a year later. So that's my best guess.
How do you see the memory of what the dog represents, the specific dog, the breed of dog, to who you are today?
I think dogs, they're passionate and they're loyal. And when I say passionate, I don't mean they're foolishly passionate. I think people throw around passion and think you got to find your passion. I don't think you find your passion. I think you develop your passion. Like you get good at something and you get interested in something, and then suddenly you get in this place where you care about it and you think about it all the time. So that's like my biggest connection, I think, to dogs. Dogs are passionate about just life and being around people, and a lot of that resonates with me. And I think that's kind of what would tie me to, still to this day, I wish we could have dogs. Unfortunately, one of my daughters is allergic. Yeah. Maybe when she's older and out of the house, but that's going to be a while. And I'm good with that. I love having young kids,
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the focus of the Doberman. It's an amazing creature when it comes to focusing, sound, and as you said, focusing on your emotions as well, right? But yeah, the focus, and to see that you love the concept of developing your focus. I'll just tie those two together from my side, from what it seems to connect for me. It's super cool. All right, my friend, if we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
So I had to think about this, and I'm like, what cassettes did I own that I listened to all the time?
Cassettes? What's a cassette?
It would have been 1992, 1993, and I thought, what was I listening to in sixth grade? And then it hit me. I was like, Boys to Men. Oh, first track, Motown Philly. That would have been my favorite song. It was right before, or right as I was really getting into rock, which obviously was huge at that time. But when you're 12, your music taste changes so much between 12 and 14. It has to. I guarantee you, if you asked me when I was 12, it would have been Boys to Men.
Love it, love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. You ready, Jonathan?
Ready.
Jonathan, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Ooh, yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
You said you have children, right? Do you believe in God?
2 children, 2 daughters.
2 daughters. Do you believe in God?
I believe in something that I think we're all talking about when we say God. That's the way I'm going to put it.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch Sure.
And I make my inner circles of friends overlap one another. I think that's a big, big part of my life.
That's super cool. I was interviewing someone while having a conversation, and they said it's not an inner circle, it's a star. So it doesn't overlap. You know, there are points. But I love what you said. Yeah.
I make them overlap. Think of it like the Olympic rings or something.
There we go. There we go. What about TV? Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I don't know if I watch 3 hours of TV a week.
All right, all right. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, I'm at the computer quite a bit, so I would say I'm probably on a computer somewhere between 6 and 10 hours a day, yeah.
Okay, Jonathan, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Jonathan Vaudreuil, what would you say that is?
I would say that statement is building relationships is the most important thing in life. And so that's a big part of what I do for my work. It's not about selling customers. It's about building relationships. I think the best parts of my life have come from, that's my focus. Everything from friendships to my marriage to my business relationships.
Love it. Even that relationship with Pincher, right? Even from there, right? Building relationships.
My mom had a neighbor with a Doberman Pinscher for years, and she fawned over that dog. Of course, most people think Doberman Pinschers are mean. Most of them are so friendly. They're like these massive little, face kissers.
Yeah, I love it. All right, my friend. Well, again, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
The only thing else I'd want to share is just, about my unique real statement, just relationships are everything. Care about people and one another more than you care about things like money and stuff. And you're just going to have a much richer life.
Yeah, I think it's the key to becoming wealthy.
Absolutely.
Jonathan Vaudreuil, thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. Glad we got to connect.
Yeah, same here. Thanks to Scott Westwater.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.